Good morning. It is Monday, June 8th, 2020. And in this new week in Nowhere Village, we are exploring our values. And this is really the heart of the matter. This is really all about very, very, very key questions of our spiritual practice. And this is really this inquiry exercise around what do I value, what is most important to me, what really matters, why am I showing up for my spiritual practices, why am I showing up for anything. This was really the beginning, this exploration was the beginning of what has become the coordinates, this longer inquiry exercise. And really, a lot of it began with this pivotal moment where my teacher asked me, I asked my teacher a question about finding a lineage and a guru that I could call home. And my teacher asked me, what is this all about for you? And I realized that I had a lot of exploration to do to really understand why I was on a retreat at that moment, why I was meditating so often. I realized that I hadn't done a lot of this investigating for myself. And as I did that investigating, so many revelations came. My practice shifted so much and in such a direction that felt so organic and right and true that in my work, I began to ask my students more and more questions, and I began to really embrace the power of inquiry in this new way. And so here we are. As I've been preparing the materials for you all this week, I have been getting the call to be very, very simple. And the exploration of our values does get us to a very simple place in a way. As you explore your values, I want you to go on a whole journey, and I'm about to give you a bunch of different prompts so that you can go on a lifetime journey. But ultimately, we would like to have a few core values that we start to kind of distill some of our understanding of our spiritual practice down into, because it's really, really helpful to be able to articulate for yourself and for those that you speak to about your spiritual practice, to be able to articulate when you really take it down to the nut what it is about for you. And this helps us simplify, this helps us get rid of the clutter, the distractions. This helps motivate us to show up for what we really need to show up for, and helps us to do the prerequisite for that, which is to let go of everything that we're not showing up for, because there's only so much time and attention and energy that we have. I'm going to show you the prompts with a shared screen really quickly here. And so those of you who have been hanging out in Nowhere Village for a while will notice, trying to make myself a little smaller here, you will notice that what I'm offering you guys today is actually a simpler version of what I often share at the beginning of the week, because I really, again, want us to be able to get very focused this week and simple and clear. So at the very top, I basically have the kind of final questions that I would ask. Sometimes I've been putting these kind of at the end of all of your inquiry work, and instead I'm putting them at the beginning, so that you have a sense of where we're going to end up. And some of you may be able to have intuitive responses to just these first questions. Number one is really the question, what are my core values? I'm not going to go deep into these because you guys will all have access to this, and I want to dive into the inquiry. So when we get down to it, what matters most in life? And once we can say, this is what life is about, this is what I'm going to show up for, we're going to be able to use that to clarify everything, that all of our actions. Okay. And so that's actually the first thing that we're going to look at this week is our actions. All of the inquiry prompts that you're going to see today are from the awareness round, meaning we're just trying to understand, we're trying to broaden our awareness of the values that we already have. We're not trying to manufacture anything new. We're just trying to see, you know, the dark spots in the closet, so to speak. We're trying to see kind of what's already here. And the very first thing that we're going to do, and I show you, I say here that I've got 4 types of inquiry: actions, feelings, stories, and concepts. But the very first thing, and if you don't do anything else this week, I would love for this to be what you do, to look at your actions and how they relate to what you value. When I started to do this work, I realized there was a lot of stuff I was doing that I thought I knew. I knew what was behind it and what my motivations were and how I was showing up for my values. But when I really investigated, it was a little different. And so the very first way that we take action in the world, or the very first way that we can say, this is what I value, is what are we giving our time and attention to? Really simple. I have a bunch more prompts, as you see here, having to do with investigating our own action and what it tells us about our values. So I won't go deeper into that, but again, just watching for yourself, what am I giving my time and attention to, and how does that speak to my values? I will say the number one trap here is that we think we value certain things, and we have stories of what we value, and those are actually often not in alignment with the truth of things. And the truth of things will be revealed by what we do, how we show up. And so you're going to be looking at that, and sometimes that looking can be hard, can be challenging. And so that's what I'm here to support you with, and that's what all these practices are here to support you with. Okay, so the other ways that you can investigate today and through this document is feelings of value. Value is felt as an experience of love, of care. I care about this, right? And so it'll come up as positive or negative emotions, depending on what's going on with what you care about. But all of these prompts are really just to help you dive into the feeling of care. Stories of value is their third type of inquiry prompt for today. And this is just looking at the stories that we tell ourselves about what's valuable. Where do we learn these stories from? There's some really interesting things to learn here. And finally, concepts of value. And concepts is where we look at, where we kind of put on our philosopher hat, and we look at our ideas and theories and beliefs. We look at kind of the words that we say and what they really mean. And this, for some people, might be actually the place to start as you investigate what values are for you. Got some great prompts for you guys. Okay, so without further ado, those that are on the line are going to dive in. Those of you that are watching the video, I'm here to support you this week as we dive into this most important of explorations together.